going on, everyone? So, the Lakers, with their win over the Phoenix Suns yesterday, officially cannot finish worse than the eighth seed. They already had the play in locked up. They didn't have to worry about falling out of the play in. But now, the worst that they can finish is the eighth seed. And what an absolute turnaround. I mean, seriously. To go from a team that started 2-10, we were like, what, 5-15 at one point, just absolutely atrocious. 3 or 4 weeks ago, even, we were like the 13th seed in the Western Conference. And to go from that to legitimately being or having a shot to be in the playoffs and maybe even getting the sixth seed. What an absolute remarkable turnaround by this Lakers team. What a great job by Rob Pelinka to turn the roster around. And look, I know a lot of people wish that it happened sooner, but those deals were not on the table earlier. The Lakers were trying, and teams were trying to gouge them. They were trying to make deals like that in the offseason, and teams were trying to gouge them. They weren't able to do anything. And a lot of people were upset with the roster that Rob Pelinka put together. But he got everybody he could get in the offseason, right? Like everybody that was on the checklist of players that the Lakers should have gotten, they basically got. It wasn't like there was this well of just quality free agents this offseason. And the hope was, okay, let's get all these guys and maybe we can figure it out. Maybe we can make it work. And it started off terrible. But even that team kind of turned it around, right? Like that team started picking it up and were winning more games than not. And that team was beating, the Milwaukee Bucks. And like there was a real genuine conversation of like, oh man, like this team might actually have a puncher's chance, right? It was like, man, like when they play like to the best level that they can, it's pretty good. It's just we just had so many of like the same pieces, the Patrick Beverleys, you had the Kendrick Nunns, the Dennis Schroeder, all these guys that just really just were all the same thing, and then Russell Westbrook, that just didn't work, right? I mean, Russ tried and he made the sacrifice and he came off the bench and there were some good moments, but more times than not, there were just bad moments and it was a mess. It was a disaster, and all of us were just like, here we go, another losing season. Like, this sucks. Like, maybe we can get into the play-in, and if we get into the play-in, it gives us a chance. You rely on LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and and they couldn't stay healthy, and they were in and out of the lineup. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really knock Darvin Ham. Like, a lot of people really are, like, on Darvin Ham's helmet. But, like, think of the circumstances as a first-year head coach. You have this atrocious roster that doesn't make any sense. Not only that, but your two best players are constantly in and out of the lineup and both miss half the season. And then on top of that, you get an entire roster rehaul, and all of a sudden you have a legit chance at the playoffs. You're the number one defense in the league. You have the best Western Conference record since the trade deadline. You're a top 8 offense, which you were already a top 10 offense even earlier, and like a top 15 defense. That doesn't happen without coaching. It just doesn't. Like, you have to have some coaching to be the best at something. Like, the players are great, but it's a combination of team. Basketball is a team game, a team sport. But regardless, it's such a wonderful thing. However you feel about the coach, however you feel about everything, just take a second to appreciate what the situation is that we're in. I mean, even LeBron is appreciating it. LeBron himself said this. LeBron James, I was just telling AD, I was like, man, can you believe that we are going to finish this season above 500? After everything that's gone on this season, we've turned this thing around. And he's right. 100% right, spot on. LeBron James is completely correct. No matter what happens on Sunday against the Utah Jazz, the Lakers will finish this season over 500 after being 8 games under 500. They were like 5 or 6 games under 500, like I said, a couple weeks ago. And to turn, Patrick Beverley and, JTA and Damian Jones and, Thomas Bryant, all these guys, and Russell Westbrook, into D'Angelo Russell Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba, Davon Reed. On top of that, you do the trade for Rui Hachimura, and then you turn around and get all the assets back that you did in the trade for Rui Hachimura, and you do it all and only have to give up one first round pick. That's a steal. Rob Pelinka deserves his flowers without a doubt for this roster. This is a real team that has real players with real talent and a real opportunity. It's just such a beautiful thing. I mean, you have your defensive, perimeter defender in Jared Vanderbilt who can guard the best player on any team any night. Guard multiple positions. And we've seen him do it. We've seen him guard a Brandon Ingram, a Kawhi Leonard, and then guard like a Jean Moran, a De'Aaron Fox. That's remarkable. Have a guy like D'Angelo Russell, a 3-level scorer, a guy who can be a third option. Malik Beasley, even with all his struggles, his ability to stretch the floor and get hot on any given night. Mo Bamba, very raw, but a real sizable 7-footer with like a 7'10" wingspan or something insane like that. Right? You got Rui Hachimura, who he's had some real moments. Davon Reed's even a guy that he doesn't play like at all ever unless it's just like, garbage time. But he's a 3-and-D guy. He's a guy that you could put in and could knock down some threes and guard multiple positions. This is a real team and a real roster. Still have guys like Lonnie Walker who can absolutely put the ball into the hoop. You have Troy Brown, who has been very consistent for the Lakers all year, especially given the circumstances. He was supposed to be the 15th guy, and instead he ended up having to be a starter and play heavy minutes on certain nights and delivered. I mean, he's had some real games, and he's been knocking down the 3 ball and guarding out of position and guarding all kinds. He's been a solid piece. Dennis Schroeder has won games for us by himself, damn near. And, and as much as he has blunders and just, rough moments and even moments where you just want to pull your hair out, he's on a vet minimum deal. Austin Reeves has blossomed into a legit, what he looks like an up and coming star. The guy's been putting up 20 points per game the last 4 or 5 games. It's just the guy has really developed into a real threat. And you can make a legit argument he's our third best player. I still think it's D'Angelo Russell, but dude, Austin Reeves has a legitimate argument. If somebody said, nah, I think it's Austin Reeves, I wouldn't even fight you on it because he's been that good. He's been that great. And at the end of the day, you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis with this team. I mean, so many people talk about the 2020 team and the bubble team and how great that team was. This team has far more talent front to back. Now, the bubble team had a lot of factors going for it, right? One, their chemistry was insane. I mean, that team was like a team that had been together for 10 years. They were like brothers and just really played for each other and really cared for each other. And on top of that, you had a healthier and younger LeBron. You had a healthier and younger AD. You had a lot of factors that went into it. But this team has that potential. And again, getting to the playoffs, I will take my chances with this team. This is a team that could absolutely win. I don't think there is a person on this planet, whether they want to admit it or not, I don't think there is a person on this planet that doesn't think the Lakers have a real chance. There are notorious Laker haters that are like, hey man, the Lakers get into the playoffs. Even they're like, hey, I hate the Lakers, but this team is a real team. This team, and they really are. They are absolutely a real team. Do they play down to their competition at times? Yes, but a lot of teams do, right? We saw Milwaukee get blown out by the Celtics. Got blown out by bad teams. Didn't they lose to the Rockets by 30 or whatever? You had Denver get blown out by you've had several teams get blown out by bad teams. Didn't the Spurs beat Denver fully healthy by 30. It happens. And at least the Lakers are winning those games, right? They're just keeping it close. This team is doing what they're supposed to do. They're beating the teams that they should beat and, winning games that are the competition games. A lot of people point to the Clipper game. Lakers played 5 games in 8 nights, coming off of a back-to-back. LeBron just got back from injury. Anthony Davis is playing on one leg. And this team still on numerous occasions felt like they had a chance. And the Clippers could not put them away as much as they tried. This is a team that was down by Dallas. They're like third game together or whatever, down 27 and came back and won that game. And it's just this team has shown time and time again that when they're focused, they're bought in, and they are playing to their level, good luck beating this team. This team really does feel like they are together. It really does feel like this team is playing for each other. You see them, they're laughing, they're having a great time. Guys are standing up on the bench. Guys are, cheering for each other and stuff. They can't cheer like they could, because you saw the bubble year, right? That team was having a party on the sidelines every possession, right? I mean, they were dancing, they were doing all kinds of stuff. The NBA got a lot more strict since then. They want players to stay on the bench, don't really get up much. They've kind of taken that out, which I don't really understand. I don't get it. It's a game. They're passionate. They're emotional. They're competitors. As long as they're not actually coming onto the court, if they're on their bench and they're jumping up and they're hooting and hollering, let them. The fans are doing it. Let the players do it. But regardless, this team, you can tell that they have to do in 20 games, 25 games, what teams had an entire offseason and training camp and preseason, an entire season to do. The Lakers have had to expedite that, and they've done it better than anybody. Literally. They're the best team in the Western Conference. Best defense, top 8 offense. That is legit championship contender level. And this team does feel like they have chemistry. This team does feel like they are getting better and closer every game. Right? Even the silly stuff, right? LeBron's doing the interview and all of them are doing the goat noises, right? The bah, right? They're all doing that stuff, talking about LeBron being the GOAT. It's silly, it's goofy, but it's such a beautiful thing. That right there shows you the respect and admiration and just love that this team has for each other and they have for LeBron. Those are the things that you look for. How does the team look? How's the team, respond? How do they feel? Do guys look like they're kind of against each other or down on each other or, not really cheering for the other one's success? And it doesn't look or feel that way at all with this team. This team feels like a team that is truly building that chemistry. And look, I absolutely believe this team can win an NBA championship. I think that would be the only thing that would complete this story fully. I mean, imagine that story. We go from starting the season 2-10 to being completely dead in the water to winning an NBA championship. You can't write a better story. And they make movies about that. That, you cannot write a better story than that. I mean, we'd be the first team to do it too. And I really believe that this team has a real chance and a real opportunity to do that. Will they? I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see. I'm not saying lock it in, Lakers are going to be NBA champions, because there's a lot that goes into winning a championship, right? Health, things, just a little bit of luck, things going your way. You see stuff like that happen all the time. Teams catch lucky breaks or get lucky shots or have lucky moments or whatever. There's just so much that goes into it outside of the team having to be good enough, right? There's usually a handful of teams that are good enough to win a championship, and only one of them win every year. And usually that team, you see, end up having a couple lucky breaks here and there. And so I think if the dominoes fall in the Lakers' favor, I think they have the talent and they have enough to win the championship, right? But even if they don't, the story is still a great story. The story is still a memorable story and one that deserves to be talked about. Again, to go from real genuine questions of can they even make the 10 seed? Can they even get into the play-in? To oh, we have a chance of getting the 6 seed and not even being in the play-in at all, right? If there wasn't the play-in, the Lakers would be in the playoffs. If there was no play-in, the play-in actually is hurting the Lakers now. Because the Lakers, if they had the same trajectory and there's no play-in, they would be a top 8 seed. They can't get worse than 8th. So at worst, they would be the 8th seed and would go into the playoffs to play the Denver Nuggets. At worst, right? Like, that is a huge turnaround, a huge success. And no matter what happens, again, we're playing with house money. And that's something else that needs to be talked about. Like, the Lakers are the underdog. They're not the favorite. They weren't supposed to be there. Everyone thought that they were dead in the water. You should trade LeBron. You should trade AD, sell the franchise, all of that stuff. And now look. So this team definitely has a chance and definitely has opportunity. And even if they don't, let's say worst case scenario, knock on wood. I don't even really want to put this out there, but let's say we don't even make the playoffs. Let's say we lose in the play-in. As team, considering the circumstance, you still should be high on this team. You should still be excited. You should still be proud. But you should also be excited for next year. Because next year, you're going to have pretty much this entire team. And, maybe you make a full couple tweaks here and there. But you should have at least the core, 7 or 8 guys. And you're going to get a full offseason, a full training camp, a full preseason, and a full regular season with this team. And this team was able to legitimately have a shot at the 5th seed when they were, again, the 13th seed. You don't think that this team is going to be a top 4 or 5 seed next year in the West? Absolutely. This team isn't going to be a play-in team next year. This team's going to be they're going to be at least top 6 in the league, at least, bare minimum. And that's with Anthony Davis and LeBron James missing half the season, because they're still going to. And we're still going to be good enough to be a top 5 to 4 seed, So that is huge in and of itself. That is something to be excited for. But I don't have a doubt in my mind that this team at least makes the playoffs. And then once we're there, let the chips fall where they fall. If we win it, great. If we don't, cool. I'm still proud. I'm still excited. I can't wait for next season. But more than anything, I am pumped for Lakers playoff basketball. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to just see the atmosphere, see them on their home court in a playoff setting. I mean, again, you can't write a better story. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Are you proud of the Lakers? Excited? Are you excited for their future? Excited for this season? Do you think they can win the championship? Do you think they can't? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.